Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review Kickboxer Retaliation, the sequel to Kickboxer Vengeance that was released a couple of years ago and was actually one of the first reviews I ever did on this channel. And the original, the Vengeance one, was a remake of the original Kickboxer that starred Claude Van Damme. Now, I wasn't a particularly huge fan of the remake of Kickboxer Vengeance. I thought it was okay, but it fairly poor film, to be honest. So I'm not particularly overly excited for this movie, and this movie once again stars Alain Moussi, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, as Kurt Sloan, and we get a whole array of other stars in this. We have Christopher Lambert, who plays the bad guy in this movie. We've Jean-Claude Van Damme returns as Durand, his trainer. We get appearances from Mike Tyson. We even get an appearance for, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, the guy who plays the Mountain in Game of Thrones, who plays the big bad guy that he has to fight at the end. And he actually came second in World's Strongest Man this year, so he's a genuine strongman. And we also get a huge list of UFC fighters, past and present, make appearances. As well as Ronaldinho, for some reason, makes an appearance in this movie as well. So there's lots of things to look out for when you're watching this movie. But the very core of this movie, is it any good? Well, brutal honesty here, not really. It's not terrible, and I'll be honest, I think it's actually better than the first one, Kickboxer Vengeance. I think this has got a bit more polish and shine to it. The fight scenes are better. So I think they have improved on it, but I still wouldn't, say this is a classic by any stretch of the imagination. And what we get with this movie is it follows directly on from the first one. I think it's a couple of months after. He's now making a name for himself in mixed martial arts, Kurt Sloan, and he's due like a title shot. And then he gets abducted and taken back to Asia to answer for his crimes by this crooked fight promoter played by Christopher Lambert, who basically says to him, you killed my best fighter, you're going to stay here in prison and rot, or you're going to fight this guy. And he points to the guy from Game of Thrones who plays the Mountain, this huge monstrous beastly guy. He says you're going to have to fight him, and initially he refuses, so he gets slammed in jail, thrown in jail in the Far East, where we get sequence after sequence of him getting into fights with the inmates, one of which being Mike Tyson, who then starts training him, as well as other UFC fighters that are in the prison. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme turns up in the prison, and he's now blind, which strangely makes him a better fighter. Don't ask me how, but he's actually a better fighter now he's blind. It doesn't seem to bother him in the slightest. It's quite a strange choice there for him, and so he's stuck in this prison until he agrees to fight. He doesn't agree. They kidnap his wife, who I believe was the police officer in the first one, and basically say, right, you don't have a choice now. So he doesn't have a choice. He has to fight. So he's got to train hard. He's got to try and find his wife, and he's got to try and have, get out alive against this huge beastly guy he's got to fight at the end of the movie. So if all this sounds a bit familiar, essentially it's basically the first one remade again, just slightly better, I suppose. Like I say, the fight scenes I think are much improved. A lot of people on display here are very, very talented martial artists. That's very, very clear to tell. The one that stands out by a sore thumb is the guy that plays the Mountain, the strong guy. Where I think it's clear, if you see him in World's Strongest Man, he's actually much bigger. He's obviously trimmed down a little bit for this film to try and make himself a little bit more agile, but even that's highly amusing. Especially when he starts throwing kicks, it's hilarious, really. Whereas you can completely understand the threat against someone like that. If he got hold of you, you're dead, basically, and that's kind of how it works. The fight at the end, but it was just, it reminded me of the fight at the end of Best of the Best 2, if you remember that fight, where he had to fight Rolf Muller. It was a little bit like that, like speed and skill against size and strength sort of thing, but dialed up to 11. So it was okay, the final fight. It was interesting, but the best actors in this movie is essentially Christopher Lambert and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Everybody else is pretty low rent in regards to the acting department. Christopher Lambert plays a very standard fight promoter bad guy. Nice to see him in movies. Big fan of Christopher Lambert. So yeah, I didn't have a problem with his part in the movie. He had a little bit of charisma and charm to it. Jean-Claude Van Damme again, he's just there. He's kind of phoning it in, but he's still having fun with it. I just didn't get the making him blind this time. It just seemed like a bit of an odd decision to me. But yeah, if you like martial arts movies, and certainly if you enjoyed the first one, then you really are going to enjoy this one, because I think it is better made than the first one. And my understanding is that there's a third one going into production soon, due out next year. So yeah, if this is your sort of thing, you might really enjoy this, but don't expect a masterpiece, because it ain't. I thought Mike Tyson did particularly well in this movie as well. The fight scene that he has with Mike Tyson was arguably one of the best in the movie. But the problem is with the Mike Tyson character, he starts training him and then he just disappears from the movie, and where did he go? You thought he would have been with him throughout the movie, but he wasn't. He was obviously just, an extended cameo, I suppose you could say. So yeah, give this one a try if this is your sort of movie. It's not terrible. It's not really bad. It's just, it's just okay, and it's decently made enough, and with some good fight scenes, and kind of what you would expect with a movie like this. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review.